This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a 5 on a deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
How is everybody doing? It is A's Cast Live on a Friday before the Athletics get back into a little interleague play where they actually have been very good this year. The A's are down in the Valley of the Sun taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We've got a phenomenal show for you. The manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Torey Lovullo, will be here at 5 o'clock. We established a relationship with him at the winter meetings in 2019, and he's been coming on the program ever since, riding high, coming off going to the World Series last year, winning the National League pennant. We'll talk to Torey. He has, and we can tell you now because we taped this interview, an unbelievable we're asking people who played for the A's, worked for the A's, a Coliseum moment. What is his Coliseum moment? You're going to love it. Didn't think he'd go this way. Didn't think he'd, I came up in a game and did, no. This is phenomenal. His one last memory of the Coliseum, you are going to love it from the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Totally did not. Out of left field?
Yeah, it's out of left field, and, well, I'm not going to give it away. I must have said something, but we'll save it for 5 o'clock.
It is phenomenal. And then we have the manager of your team, Mark Kotsay. The Mark Kotsay Show will be here at 5:30. Our first guest will be at 4:30. Mike Ferrin, national, I guess, what do we call Sirius XM people? They're not streaming. They're satellite.
I guess, yeah. MLB Network Radio.
MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, Mike Ferrin. It is one of the best sports talk style baseball shows that we have. Power Alley with the Duke, Jim Duquette. He will join us at 4:30. Mike, also, when you listen, like the WBC games, he was the main play-by-play guy, does a lot of college baseball for ESPN and ACC and everything. So a lot to get into with Mike Ferrin coming up here. And also stationed in Arizona as great party during spring training he does every single year at his house. We had a wonderful time smoking down. Johnny D and I woofing down ribs before Johnny dropped me at the airport. So Mike Ferrin will be here at 4:30. Torey Lovullo, the manager of the Diamondbacks, at 5, and then Mark Kotsay at 5:30. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, this is a stacked day. And from the conversation we had earlier this week, Ferrin said he will be at Chase Field. So a lot of Diamondbacks A's coverage coming to you because I think Ferrin's going to be there. So we're going to get a backdrop of Chase Field if you've never seen it. For our fans watching, if you're listening on A's Cast, go to athletics.com or youtube.com/athletics to watch. You can see what it looks like at Chase Field. It's a ball. I mean, it's just a ballpark with a roof.
It's nothing special. The one thing that I did notice about it, because let's face it, my entire life, essentially the 3 ballparks that I've been to the most in my life, I guess you could throw Candlestick in there, but the 3 ballparks I've been to the most in my life, obviously the Coliseum. I've been to more games at the Coliseum. All my years doing A's, Raiders. Coliseum is by far, the most I've attended. I mean, I can't even, nothing's close. I would say number 2 would be old Jack Murphy Stadium.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying something.
Well, clearly it didn't work.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this down. That's okay.
What is it? What are you doing?
I was trying to get us back on Twitter, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. I thought I was gonna be able to, but
well, you can experiment. We can see. I think everybody's cool with an experiment.
I'll try it again in a minute.
Let
me take this off here.
So, Chase Field. So, essentially, if you look at the Coliseum, if you look at old Jack Murphy Stadium, Qualcomm had a couple different names. Pac Bell Park, I've been a lot to over the years, my years working at KMBR. And then Candlestick Park. The thing that they all were and still are today is walking around there, you're smushed. Like they didn't think about big. They didn't think about like when you walk through Levi Stadium, it is massive, right? And to have those walkways and to have the concessions so far from the seats, and you're not, I mean, you walk through the Coliseum like a Raider game. It was like, oh my God, right? That was the first thing I noticed going to Chase Field was like, that was the first place. And I'd been to Wrigley and Fenway, and that was the first time where you could walk around with space. Chase Field is nothing special. The pool isn't a big deal. There's nothing impressive about Chase Field. Now, they can have the roof open. They actually have the record in the game notes with the roof open versus with it not. They really don't open it all that much. But that was Chase Field was the first ballpark I went, oh, there's space here. This is nice. Like when you're in line at concessions, people are not like, what's one of the biggest thing that you just a packed house. You're in line at the concessions and people are walking through the line. It's just poorly built. Those old stadiums, they didn't think about it. The escalators and the elevators, they just didn't think about the best ways to get people around. They just weren't built great. And that's why you need new facilities. And that Chase Field was the first time I was like, wow, this is nice. From the standpoint that you're not walking through the line of the concessions to move around the ballpark. Right? There's space. You're not everybody is touching each other and bumping into each other. Excuse me. You know, if the flow of traffic either way is going, you're going against the flow. I mean, you don't even have to have a lot of people at the Coliseum. Like even now at some of our games, when I go down and I'm walking around, you still walk through people. You don't have to do that at this place. Other than that, nothing special about it. Did it work?
No. It's okay. I thought you're able to do it, but I was doing something different, and it's okay. We'll eventually get back to it.
And the same thing with having no room at Pac Bell Park that you now call AT&T. It's smushed together because they didn't have a lot of land and they had to put it all together in one spot. So but Chase Field, yes, it'll be nice to have Mike Ferrin on. We have a lot. I have something. Ohtani is going to do something tonight. He could be tying a record and hold a leadoff record that Rickey Henderson does not have.
The name will shock you who the guy that holds it is. Where were you when he was
Rickey
playing?
Henderson doesn't have you told me Rickey Henderson has every leadoff record. Greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Could Ohtani make a run at being the greatest leadoff hitter of all time? Have you seen the numbers?
Yeah, they're pretty
Oh,
impressive.
my God. So I've got that for you today. We're going to be following some major games. Who would have thought a month ago we would talk about Mets-Astros is the series to watch? Two hottest teams in June, Mets-Astros. So Johnny D's hot take on the Astros, your hot take on the Astros, it lives.
It's back from
for now.
It's like the meme of the gif
for
of
now.
The Undertaker in the casket. He rises up. That's kind of what's going on right now with the
I
Astros.
saw what is the Undertaker's real name?
Mark Calloway.
I saw an interview with him as he was traveling down the road with Paul Bearer.
The late Paul Bearer, yes.
But and he wouldn't pull over for him and was joking with him because he had to go to the bathroom and he ended up peeing all over himself. I saw that on Instagram. The old wrestling stories about really what was going on when they traveled and everything, pretty funny. Yeah. So we got history with Shohei Ohtani at leadoff. We've got some really big series and going to be watching, no doubt, Astros and Mets That's one to watch. Orioles, Rangers. We're not far off from saying, uh-oh, with Texas. Bruce Bochy's going to be the manager for the All-Star game in Arlington. But, and I know this is going to sound bad, but is a season like this going to make sure that this is Bochy's last ride? He just won the World Series. But with the year they're having and the Orioles coming to town and everybody's at the halfway point, right? We're at the half. Like Arizona is exactly, they've played 81 games. We're a little ahead of that. We're our last game this is game 84 for us. Yeah, Bruce Bochy's his club's got to turn it around. Scherzer on the mound tonight. Scherzer chasing history, going to pass Maddox.
Strikeouts.
All-time strikeouts to be 10 up. Maddox getting bumped out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
And he's only, I forget how many from behind. He's closing on Verlander, right? He's only like 20.
He's closing on. Verlander's still playing.
Whoa. Verlander's hurt, though. He can pass him. And then Verlander will pass him again, and they'll keep going back and forth.
I'm not going down that route. That is big. I have a game to play with you today. I'm going to read you the notes of a team, and you have to guess who that team is.
Okay.
All right. We are going to do that. Dodgers Giants.
It's a big one.
Your Giants friends popped off a lot. My Giant friends, all real baseball guys, can't stand the way things have been going with the Giants. Your Giant friends are all in fan homers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the one question we were asking last night at the San Jose Giants game was about Blake Snell when he's going to come back.
Yeah. Do I need to read the question you sent me? Because it did make sense.
Because I typed it without, I meant to say, would you rather pay Blake Snell to be hurt the whole year?
Yeah, because you sent to me play.
Yeah.
Would you rather play Blake Snell or what was it?
It was either would you rather pay Blake Snell?
No, you sent it to me. Would you rather play Blake Snell
and him be hurt all year, or it was something with Wood and Stripling pitching all year long?
Yes, because it didn't make sense. Would I rather play Blake Snell?
Yeah. So would you rather pay Blake Snell to be hurt all year, or have the years that's happened so far for Alex Wood and Ross Stripling? Is what the question was. We were talking.
See,
about.
That makes sense. Would I rather pay and have this disastrous year of Blake Snell, or pay Ross Stripling and Alex Wood and what?
And get what you've gotten from them so far. Or have Blake Snell, who's made like 3 or 4, I think it's 3 starts.
He's been a disaster.
He's pitching tonight in Vegas against Fran. So, Fran, rough him up.
Oh, my God. Aviators smoke Blake Snell and the River Cats out of David Force is still angry. Can he still be angry now, the fact that we're going to be at the Aviators ballpark next year? I bet that changes. Is this the game of I rather? I rather do the Blake. Okay, sure. And I'll tell you why. Blake Snell, I can always say, this guy can turn it around like he did last year with San Diego, and he can be a dominant. Blake Snell can be a dominant 5-inning guy. 5-6 innings, you can get dominance out of Blake Snell. Blake Snell's got tremendous stuff. He is so talented.
By the way, give me a second. I think I might have us on Twitter.
We're back on Twitter. Yeah.
Well, sorry, X.
The kids call it X.
Yeah. Let me make sure. I'm just gonna see.
We're back. I'm seeing it right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. Hold on.
You're going to your own account.
Yeah, I'm just checking something.
Look at you making things happen.
That's why I have that title of multimedia producer. I can do all this while
yeah,
we're
we
on
are.
there.
We're back on.
Oh, look at that. There's me. Yep.
Look at that. We're back. Attaboy. Round of applause for the commander.
Thank you.
Pat yourself on the back.
This is what I did before the game started on Wednesday in the office. Yes, I went to our office for the first time this season.
How was it? Did you see everybody?
I saw Ray, who we barely see.
Karate Kid.
Saw Ray. Saw people I see at the Coliseum all the time. So it was like being at the Coliseum pretty much.
Nice. I'm glad we're back on Twitter. Obviously, things have happened. Things changed with our social media. So we were only on YouTube, but traditionally, where the show is going to be, we will live on Twitter, we'll live on Facebook, and we'll live on all the platforms. But so we're back now on Twitter full time.
We'll see. I'm experimenting with this today to
All
see
right.
how this goes. But we're on there right now, and
I'm proud of you.
I'm able to control it.
Yeah, but back to the would I rather. I don't know what you're going to get from Alex Wood or Ross Stripling from here on out.
Well, one of them's on the 60-day injured list, so you don't know when he's going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, I still got a shot because the only thing that you would look at is money. But I mean, the San Francisco Giants, that's nothing. So it's like they got money, they spent it. It'll be gone. If it's a 2-year deal, he can opt out. I mean, it's not that much money. I still have a chance for him in this second half to catch fire and give me some really good innings. I don't know if I can say that about. I mean, our only shot in this conversation now, as you mentioned, the IL is Ross Stripling. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So essentially now, what am I betting on? Am I going to bet on Snell or Stripling?
Stripling. Well, Snell's going to come back, and then, or like you said, be a great 5-inning pitcher. 5, that's being polite. I mean,
no, I have a chance to get a guy who won the Cy Young, get him right, get him going. You know, no matter what, once he's right, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I have no shot at that, Ross Stripling. 0.
Correct. You are not wrong at all.
So I got a shot. So we do have a lot to talk about. We're talking about the 2 hottest teams, Mets and Astros. Mets are 15-4. Astros are 14-6. The 2 best records are absolutely red hot.
Grimace and I don't know if the Astros turnaround mascot or be attributed to. I don't know if the Astros have some kind of voodoo magic or something there, but they've been good. And Johnny's prediction was they would go 17-8 in the month of June and be back in.
What are they?
15-7. So they can go 17-9.
Come on, Mets!
If they go 2-1 against the Mets.
Greet the Mets. So he still can make it happen. I also have an update since we're at the halfway point. I want to check in on some of our former A's. I think you're going to be shocked on what's going on with some of our former A's. Because you kind of stop paying attention. You like wonder. It is shocking what is happening with some of our former A's, especially one guy I cannot believe. We're at the halfway point, and let's face it, I would say it's shocking what some of our former A's are doing. I think it's shocking what some of our what some of our future stars are doing right now, including one that we're going to see tonight. Corbin Carroll. You got these guys that Major League Baseball has said, you know what? We're going to play the futures game, and we're going to give you money now. We're going to invest in you now, so we don't have to pay the crazy money later. And it really is turning out to be an absolute disaster. When you start looking at some of these, so for future A's, and I predicted that J.J. Bleday will be your leadoff hitter, J.J. Bleday tonight.
Correct, leading off tonight.
J.J. Bleday will be the first guy to get some type of contract extension, giving a little security. But these, oh my God, panic! We better pay this guy $74 million, so we don't have to pay him $3. Because the panic has been we don't want to get to $300 million level, right? We started seeing Trout got 400-something million. That's a disaster. We saw Lindor get over $300 million. That's a disaster. Fernando Tatis Jr., now that he's hurt again, that's a disaster. We have seen so many disasters of this $300 million level contracts. Mookie Betts, unfortunately, with the fractured hand, but Mookie Betts, that has been good. We'll see how Ohtani ages with $700 million deferred. But a lot of these big-time contracts, they've been disasters. So what teams wanted to do was offer less but give you the security now. But all of a sudden, Julio Rodriguez is terrible this year.
Yeah, he has been great. Another guy who we're going to see tonight, Corbin Carroll. What we looked up his numbers.
Terrible.
Was he hitting like 212?
He's got 2 home runs.
Yeah.
He's terrible. So you've offered these guys contracts and given them long-term security to be the faces of your franchise. And I can tell you right now, because I can go right to it, because he's on my fantasy team because the dumb computer picked him. It seemed like a great pick at the time. Let's just check. Old Corbin Carroll, who they gave long-term money to. He's hitting 212 with 2 home runs.
He has, 14 steals, I think?
14.
Yeah.
23 RBIs, 45 runs scored.
Bad OPS, too.
You just gave this kid the most money in franchise history, and he's rewarded you with 212, 2 home runs in 81 games. Beware what you buy. Beware what you buy. Everybody wants to throw money at everybody. Everybody wants, you know what? This offseason was brilliant. This offseason was like, paying Matt Chapman $200 million? No way. Cody Bellinger? No way. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery? No way. And everybody looks smart. And you know who's coming up now? And they're playing against each other. And they're both Boris. They're both Boris guys. They're playing against each other this weekend in the biggest series. Who am I?
Would that be the Polar Bear and Brady?
How are those two doing?
Polar Bear has home runs, but that's about it. And Bregman's
hot.
But he was pretty.
He was so bad.
I'm gonna quote what the kids say. He was pretty mid all season.
Oh, did you go mid? I'll tell you know what? You want to know exactly? I can tell you, Bregman in the last 25 games is hitting 347 with a 984 OPS, and he's raised his average from 206 to 253. He's hot. You want to pay him $200 million?
And he's what? Is he 30?
30? I think you might be aging him.
30.
He's 30. You want to pay him or the Polar Bear $200-300 million?
No.
I remember driving up to Oakland, listening to Jim Squared, the front office show. They call it the award-winning front office show. We're going to have, next time we have the Duke on, or maybe we can ask Mike Ferrin.
How many awards do they have?
Yeah, what awards have they won since they called it?
How many Marconis have they won?
Oh, my God. They had Jerry DiPoto on, and I'm driving up, and I'm listening to this, and they're like, they're slobbering over Jerry DiPoto. Slobbering. Oh, my God, this deal.
Trader Jerry.
Oh, my God. And then they were talking to him because, he was part of getting the Trout deal together and that he used part of the Trout deal for the J-Rod deal. Has anybody – I'll go to that part. I got every – problem is I do have every note you possibly need in life right now. Julio Rodriguez is literally awful. He has 3 singles in his last 31 at-bats for a whopping .097 average in his last 31 at-bats, 0 RBIs on their road trip. He's hitless in his last 18 at-bats. Okay, that's just recent. You just gave Julio Rodriguez this massive contract, and he's on pace right now for only 14 home runs and 57 RBIs.
Not great.
Not great.
Either is Carroll, and then there was a couple other guys we were going over.
That's why we got to ask Ferrin, this award-winning front office show. I want to know what awards they have won because they were slobbering over Jerry DiPoto when I was on my way up to Oakland on a Sunday morning.
Well, Ferrin's here. Let's see.
Hang on, I'm going to a spot where you can actually see my face as opposed to the glare. Now the glare's just over my shoulder. Hi, boys.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? At the ballpark, just spent some time with Mr. Kotsay and caught up with him. So, yeah, it's good to be here. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Cody sold us you're going to be at Chase Field at the pool showing us all these views.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, but it's very difficult for me to talk and balance a MacBook at the same time.
in a Speedo out in the pool would be great.
Listen, Towny, I don't want to show you up too much. Yeah, I mean, the ratings would go through the roof, and then your bosses would be so disappointed when your numbers on Monday tanked because you didn't see this gorgeous form in just a Speedo. I mean, you know how much people love hair? Like, I've got a lot of it.
Oh my God, with barbecue sauce. I mean, what the kids want.
Yes. I'm trying to see if I might have some hamburger on my shirt even from today, so that's good.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're having a great day already. We taped Torey Lovullo before the show. You know, we've gotten to know him over the years. He told us we can't tell you yet because we'll text it to you later. We've been asking people one last memory or your favorite memory from the Coliseum. He gave us an epic one that has absolutely nothing to do with playing. We'll text you. It is great. When we had the Mark Kotsay show on today, so we're excited. You're there in Arizona. I mean, you tell us, Diamondbacks yesterday, or did they have the day off yesterday? When was the
No, they lost to the Twins.
Yeah, so yesterday they lost to Rocco Baldelli and the Twins. That was game 81 for them. The second half officially starts. Where are you with the Diamondbacks? I know Thomas coming back, Gallen's coming back. You see a run here for the D-backs? What do you see?
I think there's a chance if they can get healthy. I mean, really, they've played most of the first half without their starting center fielder and their starting shortstop. And for a defensive-minded team, that's really difficult. Perdomo came back a couple of weeks ago. Thomas is on a rehab assignment now, as you mentioned. They should get Gabriel Moreno back, I think, on the next road trip as well. So that'll help. I mean, that's basically the middle of the field. And then they have three starters that have been out too. Gallen will come back tomorrow to pitch against the A's. And then sometime probably towards the beginning of August, you could see Eduardo Rodriguez. And in the middle of the month, Merrill Kelly. And, you know, I think that helps to explain why they are where they are. The offense has kind of picked up here this month. It was a deep enough team, but not one that could withstand losing your top three starting pitchers and three players in the middle of the lineup or in the middle of the field for an extended period of time. So I think actually the fact that they're 3 games under 500 at this point is pretty incredible. I think they have a chance to have a run in them. I think that they will be aggressive at the deadline as long as, you know, they don't crater over the next 2.5 weeks. So I would be surprised if they didn't add. So, yeah, I think they're certainly one of the teams to keep an eye on in the National League race because it's if they get healthier, they have the personnel to be able to make things difficult on those other kind of middle-of-the-pack teams in the NL.
All right, we have no idea what's going to happen at the deadline, but we do know that the Giants want to be aggressive. You just mentioned Arizona, A.J. Preller in San Diego. If you could buy stock in one of these teams, deadline, and then making a run at it, which of the 3 teams, and not every stock is equal, some stock you can buy, but who's at the stock, which stock do you believe nails it at the deadline, makes a run for it, because you want to make a lot of money because you're a rich guy there in Arizona.
Clearly.
Which team would you buy stock in out of the 3 in the National League West?
So rich I can keep doing this show for free. I think, like, in terms of aggressiveness, I mean, I think you're hard-pressed based on history to not say that A.J. Preller will be the most aggressive. And then I think beyond that, you would see the Diamondbacks as being the most aggressive. I mean, I don't think we really have a whole lot to go on with San Francisco making aggressive moves at the deadline. 21, they added Chris Bryant, which was significant, but that was kind of at a last minute. And to me, aggressive means you're making moves well ahead of the deadline. And San Diego's already done that twice, right? Dylan Cease, Luis Arise. If there's anybody that's going to jump the market and pay full price for players that can help them, it's going to be San Diego. And the Diamondbacks have done that in the past too. And in 2017, JD Martinez was maybe the first game after the All-Star break that they acquired him in a trade from Detroit. They have other times acquired players to help fill out their roster in May or June. I think of the John Jay trade here. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest names, although JD Martinez was a pretty big one and was incredible for them. But I think they're the next ones. And then the Giants are in that group with like Pittsburgh and a number of other teams that are kind of similar record-wise that it's like, hey, you can tell me anything you want about how aggressive you want to be. Now you got to prove it.
And I'll tell you what, you know how much we love Bob Melvin, and all my years doing the Bob Melvin show, I love him to death. He's a friend, and Cody's always trying to get me to rip the Giants, so here I go. Since 2016, they got the 1 year of winning 107. And it's something they have talked a big game and all these off seasons. Oh, we're going to get the free agent. Oh, we're going to spend the money. Oh, we're going to do. I mean, at some point, if you're a Giants fan, you're looking around. Dodgers continue to, well, they're going to win it 11 out of 12 years. Here come the Diamondbacks. You say the Padres are going to be. I mean, what if you're a Giants fan? You got to be looking around going, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we were actually talking a little bit about this morning. I'm sure you were listening at the country club that, one of the big missed opportunities was not being able to trade for Mookie Betts, who was a guy that they really coveted, right? And not being able to trade for him in 2020 and then extend him like the Dodgers did was a missed chance. You're right. They have been in the mix. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to completely slam them because they have been in the mix for some of the most prominent free agents over the last half decade. But at some point you have to land one, right? I think they had an interesting winter in that they added a lot of pieces that could theoretically help. Chapman's been okay. Soler has been hurt a little bit, but has had some moments. Snell really has not pitched very much and is on a rehab assignment again with that groin injury that he continues to suffer through. So I think there are some things that they did this winter in an effort to get better, but they haven't found that impact guy in the middle of the lineup, that 900 OPS monster that can really help to carry things. I think the other problem for the Giants is that I'm just not sure that guy exists at the trade deadline. It's tough to find those players, and that's why they haven't been able to land them, is because those guys don't grow on trees. So only the Yankees have really added two of them in adding Soto and Judge. But I really think that they need offensive help. Their pitching hopefully will start to get a little healthier. Their bullpen really has been disappointing, I would say. I thought that bullpen was going to be really good this year, but they need some help, and they need to. I would like to see them be aggressive. I just don't know who that move is that you go, man, all of a sudden the Giants roster is really good.
Yeah, you're right. But it's going to be interesting because these three teams, they need to do something. Mm-hmm. And we talked to Torey about this. Torey Lovullo and other teams have done it, but we're all about what's happened lately. Torey Lovullo and the Dbacks gave a lot of people hope. I mean, they got swept that final weekend against the Astros. They go into the playoffs. Oh, good luck. You've won 84 games. And they went to the World Series. And you hear a lot of people go, well, look what the Dbacks did last year.
Right.
But their run gives a lot of cities and a lot of fan bases hope.
And I think Philly the year before, too. Remember, Philly only won, 85 games the year before, right? I mean, that was them and the Padres barely getting in. And those were the two teams playing for the League Championship Series.
I believe that's when you were on the air, correct me if I'm wrong, and Jim Bowden was afraid to leave the hotel in Philadelphia, and you had to convince Jim Bowden it's okay to go into Philly. There's great restaurants. I mean, was I listening? I think I heard that correctly back then.
I was giving him a hard time because we were walking, I think, 4 blocks to Steak 48 in Philly from our hotel. Yeah. And he was like, should we take an Uber? And I'm like, Jim, it's a 6-minute walk. And he was like, really? Like, yeah. Is it okay? Yeah, it's fine. Some people just don't understand cities. Like, it's cool. It's a lot more fun to make fun of Bowden for it.
It was classic listening to you, Channel 89, Sirius XM, MLB Channel. It was like, bro, you got to get out of the hotel and live a little.
We had a great meal, though.
Oh, it was classic. All right, a month ago, let's say in somewhere in May, we weren't going to talk about Grimace. We weren't going to talk about Jose Iglesias and oh my God, and his release of his song. Astros look beat up. All of a sudden, I'm interested. Astros Mets this weekend.
Yeah, I am too. I still have a little bit of concern about the Astros pitching depth. I mean, really, I still have some concern about the Mets pitching depth too. But both have pitched much better. The Mets offense has come alive. I mean, they had the worst record in baseball in May. They've had the best record here in June. And so seeing them turn it around has I think, kind of upset some of the potential trade deadline talks. Now, the problem is that it's still – we're halfway through the season. And for the Mets, not even, right? They played 78 games. They hit the halfway mark after Sunday's game. I think we thought the Astros had a run in them. I'm going to be really curious to see how they handle pitching down the stretch. Blanco continues to be great. Ronel Blanco's been outstanding. Spencer Arrighetti's been better in his last 4 starts. Hunter Brown's been terrific over the last month. Like, those are positive signs, and those are guys with good stuff, especially Arrighetti and Brown. I'm a big fan of. So, can they get that going? The offense has been much better. Bregman has hit well, and they've done it without Kyle Tucker, who I think you can make the case as their best all-around player. So once they get Tucker back, that lineup's going to be more robust, and they will add at the deadline. So the bullpen got figured out. They probably need some starting pitching help, but if I were the Mariners, I would be a little bit concerned about how close they are in the rearview mirror, just based on how much success they've had. Now, that said, it can all come tumbling down very quickly if their pitching isn't healthy.
All right, trading deadline. Got a while to go. Sounds like we got a lot of buyers, more buyers than sellers. Do the sellers have enough for all the buyers?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Towny, because I think it's a little different than maybe the last 2 years in that every team that we would classify as buyers or as sellers right now, I think the A's fit that, the Rockies, the Marlins fit that, the White Sox all have actually pretty intriguing pieces. Detroit might end up being in that mix too. And I think that's a little different from the last couple of years. I mean, I think if the A's were willing to listen on Lucas Erceg, I think that would be a guy that would be very interesting for opposing teams. I'm still highly skeptical that they would move Mason Miller, but Erceg is an interesting guy. I think the White Sox, with Derek Crochet and Luis Robert, have a couple of potentially impactful pieces. Whether you think Crochet can continue to start throughout the season, because he hasn't done that as a pro. He's only worked in the bullpen and a couple years removed from Tommy John surgery, but he's been one of the most dominant starters in the league. And at the very least, he gives you a really good backhand arm and then a potential starter for the next 2 seasons. I think the Marlins have a number of relief options that are really, really intriguing. I think Jazz Chisholm is a name that you'll hear on the market. That's a really exciting young player that, if he ends up in the right situation, could have an impact. And Brian De La Cruz is a really nice extra outfielder who hits the high fastball about as well as anybody. And the Rockies are kind of a wild card. If they ever decided to move players that aren't on expiring contracts, they could have some interest in guys like Ryan McMahon. And Detroit has some relievers, and Jack Flaherty's another guy who's on a 1-year deal who's had a terrific year. So I think there are some options for those teams. They're a little deeper in terms of players that could have an impact at the deadline. And that's just the ones we know now, right? Like, this is going to change in another month. When we get to the last week in July, there are going to be more teams that are looking to sell. So I do think that there are a robust number of players on these sellers that can help contending teams.
How was your chat with Mark Kotsay, the skipper?
Good. Just went in to say hi. Like to visit with him. I love Kotz. So one of my favorite people in baseball. So just wanted to check in with him, see how he was doing, say my hellos, pay my respects. I had about 5 minutes with him, just kind of shooting the breeze, talking coffee and travel and just kind of fun stuff. And man, I love Kotz. That guy's one of a kind.
Well, when you think of him, he's one of the greatest college baseball players of all time. I played against him in college. I got to see it. How'd
you do against him?
I intentionally walked him to bring up his old roommate, who then hit a grand slam off me at Kevin Costner Field there on campus there at Cal State.
Oh, wow.
So glad you brought that up. It's such a great memory. When you look at this year's draft, because I not only bill you as the voice of the WBC, as our main play-by-play man for the WBC, but I also talk about all the work you do in college baseball. Are you fired up about this year's draft? Are you saying, because in the NFL draft, hey, this is a wide receiver draft, it's a defensive line draft.
Right.
What is this, a pitcher's draft? Is this a college draft, high school draft? What are we looking at?
I think it's a college bat draft. But what's unique about this one, and part of the reasons why it's kind of a beautifully flawed one, so there just aren't many, if any, middle of the field players at the top of the draft. Last year was so unique because we had really 5 legitimate candidates to go 1-1. And those guys are special players. And for the most part, they've performed well in pro ball so far. I think and 2 of them are in the big leagues too. I don't think that there's that guy in this draft. I know there's not that guy in this draft, but there are some really intriguing players, whether it be Jack Caglione, who's the 2-way player from Florida who has prodigious power, probably a bat in pro ball, but also has been up to 97 as a starter at Florida over the last 2 years. On the mound, Charlie Condon, who was the SEC Player of the Year and the Golden Spikes Award winner, at 37 homers this year. J.J. Weatherholt, who missed about half the season with a hamstring injury from West Virginia, but who is a speedy infielder with twitch and can really hit and has power. Like, those are some of the guys at the top. And then there's a couple of arms like Hagen Smith, the left-hander from Arkansas, Chase Burns, the right-hander from Wake Forest, that both struck out more than 45% of the hitters that they faced this year. Really wipe out stuff. So those are kind of guys at the top, but it's deeper beyond that. It's just that there aren't any sure bets to play center field or shortstop. And so what you're going to see is a lot of variety, and probably some teams cut deals with players like James Tibbs is the ACC Player of the Year at Florida State, and he manages the strike zone really well. He's going to do well in most statistical models. He has power from the left side. He's an okay defender, but chances are he goes in the top 10 and cuts a deal with somebody so that they can take that money and spread it out across more draft picks throughout the draft, because there are a number of quality players. There just aren't bona fide superstars in this year's draft.
Yeah, we did that last year, and it's really paying off for the Oakland Athletics. Have you seen, by the way, Jacob Wilson?
Not in pro ball, but I mean, I saw him a fair amount in college, and I'll tell you, I was really concerned about the bat. I didn't know how much impact there was going to be, but boy, he's been great and already in AAA, and son of a big leaguer, right? I don't think he's going to be quite the defender that his dad was, because Jack Wilson was one of the, great defensive shortstops of the last 25 years, but pretty solid player, and I would not be surprised if he impacts the A's roster sometime in the second half of the year.
By the way, talk about the two-way players. I'll never forget when we were reading the scouting reports. They were great. This guy was over in Japan, and they're saying, oh, my God, he's a frontline starter, is an ace. I don't know if his bat can play at this level, so he probably won't hit at this level. Yeah, I agree. I get Shohei Ohtani.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He really has struggled offensively at this level.
How many pitches has he thrown this year? Come on, how good can he be? No.
I don't know if he's going to be able to hit at this level. I don't know.
He might be ready for the next level up, to quote Tony La Russa. So,
what are you excited about? We'll let you get out of here. What are you excited about? Pretty much we're a little bit ahead. I know Padres, Dodgers a little bit ahead. People have had trouble with weathers, but everybody's pretty much around the halfway point. What are you excited about second half here?
Yeah, I'm excited to see if any of the teams in the National League separate themselves from that soft middle. I think that's one thing that I'm really curious about. I'm excited about the American League Central race, which is not something that I think you could have knocked me over with a feather in March if you had told me that. But that I was going to be excited about that, I would have been like, yeah, come on, seriously? But Cleveland has been unbelievable. Voters done a tremendous job as their manager in the first year. They have the best record in the American League. Kansas City has been really good to this point. Their starting pitching has been excellent overall. Minnesota's on a 90-win pace. And so I'm really curious to see how the AL Central plays out. And I think the Baltimore-New York race is a really compelling one. I know the Yankees have kind of hit a rough patch their starting pitching here. I think that'll get solved. I think the Orioles are going to have to add starting pitching, but man, that lineup is dynamic, and Gunnar Henderson's one of the best players in the world and might be the MVP in the American League when all things are said and done. So those are a couple of the things. I could point to the AL West because I don't think it's a fait accompli that the Mariners hold on there, and I could point to the injuries that the Phillies just suffered. I know they're going to be relatively short term for Harper and Schwarber, but if the Braves are going to try and get back into it, they play the Phillies next week. That would be a really good time for them to get going in the right direction. Would be now. But as of now, I would say that those are the biggest ones. That middle in the National League, and then the American League Central race are the things that I'm most curious about.
Any man that has more smokers and barbecues than pets can be a friend of mine.
It's close. It's 4-3.
Right?
Yeah, but it's like we have a lot of dogs. I've got a dog with irritable bowel syndrome. Do you know how difficult that is?
It better be an outdoor dog.
It doesn't, let's put it this way. It doesn't manifest itself the way you think it does.
All I'm saying, I saw it. You have more outdoor cooking apparatuses than you do pets.
That's true.
That's a baller right there.
Had the rotisserie going last night for a little Peruvian chicken. Did a pulled pork the other night. It's good to be home.
Hashtag winning. Mike Ferrin, you win. He's got the pool. He's got smokers. He's got barbecue. He's living in Arizona. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Well, you probably can't. Unless you put on about 80 pounds.
I miss you. When are we going to see
you, buddy.
You going to come up here?
I don't know. I would love to, man. I need an East Bay trip. Like I you know how much I love Berkeley and Oakland, so I would love to. I know my wife's going out for work in a couple of weeks, so I would love to come up. If I do, I'll let you know.
I mean, I can get you up to the country club. I mean, we can go play golf, have lunch, and we can do the whole thing. I mean,
can you get me tickets to the game?
Are we sold out? Let me get back to you on that. Let me call the head. I might
do what.
I'll let them know who you are, and I think I might be able to make that happen. But
I would like to pay my respects one more time to the Coliseum if I can, because I do think it's important.
Torey Lovullo's last Coliseum, you're gonna love. It's
awesome.
It's pretty good. All right,
he's a great storyteller, so I can't wait.
We promote the show all the time. I said in a talk show format, no one has a better baseball show than you. Nobody.
Appreciate you, buddy.
I don't care what those loud outs guys say. Nobody. And by the way, Jim Squared, the award-winning GM show, is there an actual award that's ever been won?
There allegedly there is, but I've never actually seen it. And it was like more than a decade ago. And you know, I'm a Chicago guy, right? So I often think of the line from Mike Ditka, which is "the pass is for losers and cowards." So.
You are the best. We'll talk soon. Be well.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Mike Ferrin. Yeah, what award is this that they claim they've won? I don't even know who was in the category.
I'm pretty sure the radio awards are the Marconis. So we have to find out.
They did.
Should we reach out? By the way,
Jim Bowden hasn't even been for Sirius XM that long.
By the way, Ferrin, was good to see you. I cut you off when you were saying you were going to say good to see you, Cody, but I booted you out before you could even say.
Oh my God, who was the guy in the NFL that always did that? Who was the guy that always did that we had as a guest?
No. On
95.7.
No.
Who was it? Baseball?
Kirkshin's one that does.
Tim Kirkshin.
You go to say bye, Kirkshin. See you later. Bye.
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah.
I talked to an executive about future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer.
I'm going to text Ferrin real quick and tell him, sorry to cut him off.
Wow, you're already cowering to Mike Ferrin. Were you trying to get a job?
Well, remember.
Trying to get a job at Sirius XM? Probably not the place to be. But anyway, yeah, we love our guys at Sirius XM. Always like CJ Nikowski,
I got a bone
Spilly,
to pick.
Jim Duquette.
I got a bone to pick with Franny. He blew us off when he was here.
Franny's a fill-in.
I don't want that Nationals broadcaster on anyway.
Who cares? No, we love Kevin Franzen. Bellarmine, San Jose State, pride of Willow Glen. Yeah, by the way, since it's going to be take a shot at the Giants because that's something that I love doing.
Yeah, they won 3 or 4 against the Cubs, though, didn't they?
Your San Francisco Giants are 39-43. Are we going to have now? They're playing the Dodgers again.
Dodgers won like 6 or 7 against
Farhan with his very comparable, if not identical, offer from the Giants to Shohei Ohtani. How many times?
Is there facts in it? Is there an offer out there we can actually see?
How many times have they come up short? Oh, but we offered.
Let's see. Hold on.
Why are you always coming up short?
Stanton. This is going back to our sports talk day. Stanton, Ohtani, Harper,
Judge,
Correa. Well, they had Correa and it didn't happen.
Well,
so Correa
they got rid of Correa. They had buyer's remorse and hey, look at this X-ray, doc. Oh, you don't like it? All right, it's done. Like you couldn't remember after the X-ray. And he went and the Mets saw the same X-ray. And then he ends up and they could have still negotiated with him. There's no question after they gave him that deal, they found the way out immediately. There was buyer's remorse immediately. Because they didn't go back and you know what? If you really wanted something, right? Let's say I agreed to buy a car. And then you walked out of the dealership. Hey, I got to think about this. I mean, there would always be more negotiating going on. I can't afford this. What I told you I can afford. There would be haggling. There would be all that. How quick were they oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, you're going to go to the Mets. Great. Oh, the Mets don't want you now you're going to talk to the Twins. Where were the Giants? If you really coveted the player, it was like we lost out on Judge. We just got to give somebody money. Quickly give somebody money, right? We look horrible. We lost out on Judge. Give somebody, oh, there's Correa. Give him $300 million. And then all of a sudden you gave him $300 million. You realize, God, this is stupid. Well, bad x-ray. All right, we're out. How about Matt Chapman? Matt Chapman is batting .211 with a .626 OPS, 1 home run, 6 RBIs, last 29 games. Give me his overall stats for the year.
That's what I was.
211, 626 for basically for the month of June. Same thing that happened last year. He had some moments, and then it hits summertime, and it's.
What do you want? What do you want first?
OPS
707.
I mean, can you imagine if you gave him $200 million and you got a guy with a 707 OPS?
But somehow his OPS plus is 107. So he's league average 100, 107. He's almost average.
How many RBIs?
33.
It's the halfway point. He has 33 RBIs at the halfway point.
What do you have? How many of last year? He only had 54 last year in 140 games.
You want $200 million to be a third baseman that drives in maybe 60 runs?
His biggest thing is he is a 2.8 WAR.
It's all in his defense.
Yeah, and he's 31 years old,
which
now.
I appreciate. You know, I love Matt Chapman, but I have to look at his numbers and be real, right? I love Matt Chapman. I love the fact I thought he was a great teammate. I thought he was a battler, and he truly cared more about winning than his own stats. He proved that in the Mike Fiers. I think he was like 0 for 5 in the Mike Fiers no-hitter, but no one was more happy for Mike Fiers. That was the leadership that Chapman brought. But, man, when you want $200 million and you're hitting .230 and you got 60 RBIs at the end of the year and you want $200 million, come on, man. By the way, and
9 home runs on the season, too. 9.
I mean, what would your numbers have to be to make the team feel good about giving you $200 million?
I'm just gonna compare it to a third baseman. I'm gonna say I want Jose Ramirez numbers.
Oh wow,
Jose!
Wow, Jose! No way!
I mean,
no way!
Well, he's not putting up those numbers, but that's what I want.
Jose Ramirez is
He's a future Hall of Famer. I talked to a source with the Guardians.
I think I predicted he'll be in the Hall of Fame. My hot take is he wins the American League MVP. That was my hot take like a month ago.
But
2 months ago.
Him and Judge are the only going down.
Was that my first hot take of the year?
No.
Or one of them?
It was one of them, yes.
Still looking good. It's going to be interesting when we do our final check-in of all the hot takes.
The only one that died for me so far is Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, that
one's gone.
Oh, you got some other ones coming up there.
Well, Rooker was mentioned for Home Run Derby and an MLB.com article, so I'm like, all right.
You got some ones that are going to be dying this month, my friend.
Just get in, Brent. Get in.
So, what does Johnny need this? Well, wait a minute. I want to do this first.
Yeah.
Let's check in on Matt Olson. Matt Olson has 4 hits in his last 38 at-bats. That's a 105 average. 15 strikeouts. Matt Olson is only on pace for 25 home runs, 82 RBIs. Now, things can change for him, but last year he hit 54 home runs, had 139 RBIs. The Braves offense, it's awful. They've scored 1 run or fewer in 12 different games. This was like, oh, my God, we're going to bludgeon everybody. Whether Acuna's out or not, their offense.
I mean, Riley's been bad this year. Murph hasn't really done anything.
Do you think they paid Matt Olson for 82 RBIs and 25 home runs? Do you think that's what the Braves thought they were getting?
No, and here's another guy we talked about. We were talking about contracts. They gave Michael Harris an extension. And
how's that working?
He's hitting 250.
Scottsdale Bro, Jared Kelenic has stepped in. He's hitting 340 in the last 12 games, stepping in for old Michael Harris. Kelenic maybe. What if Kelenic gets hot and ends up becoming a great player, and the Mariners continue to struggle offensively?
And I don't even remember what they traded for him. Do you? What did they acquire to get him? Wasn't this like a minor league guy or something?
Can't be anything that good.
Yeah,
if we don't remember it.
Yeah, I thought I had the Scottsdale Bro in here, but oh yeah,
He still looks like a Scottsdale bro. I mean, he's got the spiked hair, the tips are frosted, wearing a tank top when it's only 50 degrees out. All he needs really is a tribal tattoo on his arm. And
That's our buddy.
It was one of the greatest lines.
It's our buddy Ryan Divish from the Seattle
Oh,
Times.
the frosted tips. He just needs the tribal tattoo, and next
He still
thing you know,
looks like one of those Scottsdale bros that's over here down in the valley.
Oh, what was the other one? Needs a yellow Jeep.
he needs a yellow Jeep. And the
he
fu-
still looks like a Scottsdale bro. I mean, he's got the spiked hair, the tips are frosted,
I think the Jeep
wearing a
thing's in
tank
there.
top when it's only 50 degrees out. All he needs really is a tribal tattoo on his arm. And if he gets that, if he gets the tribal tattoo and then maybe like a yellow Jeep Wrangler, you know, big wheels, then we will know for certain.
So it was funny. We were at spring training this year. We were in Scottsdale, and yes, saw the yellow Jeep, and we're dying laughing. Every town, every community has the thing, right? I was in one part of Michigan where my buddy lives, where like everybody there wants to have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Like that's the thing.
In Michigan, where it snows half the time.
Yes, it's ridiculous. It's this little rich area in Michigan. It's like Miguel Cabrera used to live
So it's the
there.
Beverly Hills of Michigan.
Yes, it's like all the car money, and everybody's got to have like that. And I'm like going. So it's when I was with the team. We were taking on the Tigers. I was on the trip, staying at the Townsend Hotel. It's in Birmingham, Michigan, and everybody's got cash. It's all the old car money and everything, and everybody it's like the thing. It's the thing, and like we rolled up to this one like restaurant that turns in. And it's like it basically is like Walnut Creek. It reminded me of Walnut Creek. We rolled up, and we were going to dinner, but later it like turns into a club, right? So by the time we were getting out of there for dinner, like there was all these like Lamborghinis and Ferraris. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's the thing around here, man. I'm like, we're months away from it being 0 below with snow on the ground. How do you, and you remember like what they do, you know, growing in Pittsburgh, they put salt on the roads, and the salt eats the underbelly of the car.
That's a fact. I know firsthand.
Right?
Yes.
So that's why they always tell you, Californians, never buy a used car or never buy any kind of used car that's from the East Coast or the Midwest, because salt will eventually eat the bottom of the car. And I'm like, why? If you got that kind of money, I guess you're just rolling it out in the summertime than the spring.
Yeah, like when I first moved here, I'm looking around even till now. I'm like, why do so many guys have Cavaliers? And I'm like, it's because the Chevy Cavalier survived because there's no salt here that destroyed it like it didn't on the East Coast.
I'm sure there's things about our cities here in the Bay Area. I'm sure, like, what do they call San Jose?
Silicon Valley, the capital of Silicon Valley.
Yes, but what do they call? See, you're not from here.
I just live here.
Man Jose. It's called Man Jose because so many people have come to work here in the Bay Area. We've got, and it's funny because like in my neighborhood, you'll know if you don't have like a Tesla in my neighborhood, everybody's looking at you strange. And I don't. I like my gas. I'm going to stick with gas, and I can't wait till they start sticking you with this new tax on mileage for all your EVs. Oh, it's going to be great. I cannot wait. But yeah, no, I'm sure there's like you go to San Francisco, there's like San Francisco. You're like, oh, that's so San Francisco. That's so East Bay. Hella. It's hella.
Never heard that word until I moved here.
Never. Hella. Oh, that's hella.
You guys-
And the more closer you get in the East Bay to the water, the more hella you get. Oh, and you know what my favorite thing lately is? Everybody. So when you live close to the water, you don't experience heat. It's very rare that you get heat in San Francisco. And when it is, it'll be like 82 degrees and they act like they're in the Mojave Desert, right? All the years working in San Francisco, whether it was 95.7 or KMBR, they'd be like, I don't have air conditioning. It's so hot at night. And they're like, dude, it's 82 degrees. You are so soft. How about the people in Oakland and the people around Oakland who are now trying to play the it's too hot in Sacramento game? Yeah, I know you guys never leave your little pocket near the water, but when I go out to Dublin, when I go out to Pleasanton, I go out to Livermore. Yes, I played in a golf tournament at Winty Winery. Most you who live in Oakland and you live Concord. Well, Concord gets hot as you know what. They're a bad example. We had an A's golf tournament out in Concord way back where the pavilion is, and it was hot as you know. But I'm gonna say Castro Valley, San Leandro. It never gets that hot. It's like they literally don't realize you go over the hill, which is not that far from where you live. I know you guys never really venture from your hood, but when you go over Walnut Creek, I go down to Almo, San Ramon, Danville, Pleasanton, all the way out to Livermore. We now have our friends out in Mountain House. It's hot as you know what out there. Winty Winery, look it up, all you people in Oakland and around Oakland. I played in a golf tournament. There was 108 at Winty Winery.
I've been to the winery, but it was in the middle of February. So I've been to the winery, but it was in February, so it wasn't 108.
Oh, my God. The closer the people act like because they live near the water. So it's it's always in the 60s. Guess what? California is hot. When you get away from the water, California is hot. I grew up right next to San Diego State, about 13 miles from the beach. So in the summertime, it got hot. And the more east you got in San Diego, it gets way past 100. Where do you think? Like it's so ignorant when I see these things. Where do you think in California it's not hot? Think of how big the state of California is. Think about 54 million people, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 52, 54 million people. How many people do you think live where it's hot versus live near like the San Francisco Bay or the beach? You want to bet where the population lives where it's more hot than it's not? Do you think the majority of the population is living right where it's in the 60s all the time?
Oh, no.
No. But you'll look at Twitter and they'll throw some stupid stuff out in Twitter. It's going to be, I can't believe. Yeah. What do you think it was? Hey, A's fans. It's like, were these people A's fans? What do you think it was like in Texas when they didn't have a roof for all those years? And it was 100 degrees and humidity. What do you think they had those crazy heat waves in Chicago this year? What do you think the rest of the country deals with? You think the rest of the country lives next to a bay in San Francisco where it's always in the 60s or the 50s? And that you're hot when it's 77 degrees? What do you think the rest of the – you think it's not hot in Kansas City? You think it's not hot in St. Louis? What do you think it's like in the Bronx and Queens and the humidity and the heat? It's like crazy. Somebody sent that to me yesterday. Someone threw it out on Twitter. I'm like, this is so stupid, but it's par for the course. Oh my God, it's going to be so hot. Really? 100 degrees? The rest of the world deals with this. The rest of California. What do you think it is in Rancho Cucamonga in the summertime? Lake Elsinore. Go check the weather of Rancho Cucamonga.
It's 86. It's going to be 95 tomorrow. 99 on Sunday.
Oh, my God. How are they going to play baseball? It's 99.
Whoa. When we check the East.
Dude, I played in East. When you go out to El Cajon.
It's supposed to be 102 in Fresno
I played
tomorrow.
in 105. We would have to go play these tournaments because for some reason where you play tournaments, it's not at the beach. I would have to play in East San Diego. Go out to El Cajon, it'd be 105 playing in tournaments. But Oakland people think that, oh my God. I'm not gonna say it's Oakland people because I think a lot of these people I don't even think they live in Oakland, but they're putting this stuff out there like, oh my God, it's gonna be 105. Like, oh God. Kids are playing right now in tournaments that are in heat. Are you serious? And you know what the thing is? Yes, they are. Because you know what? They don't leave their little, oh, hey, when we hit July, whoever's posting this stuff, go out to Livermore and tell me what you think. And by the way, Livermore is Alameda County. It's East Bay.
You're not wrong. I mean, I know with the weather, I go places. I don't stay in San Jose. I mean,
I'll play out where different parts. We live in the South Bay. Well, it'll be over 100 degrees in San Jose in July.
I used to live in Morgan Hill, and it would get to over 100. And then, right down the street's Gilroy, even hotter. Then the Hollister's around,
I got married in Morgan Hill at Guglielmo Winery. It was like 98 degrees. It was the same weekend as the Garlic Festival.
You got married at Guglielmo?
Yeah.
It's a great winery.
Or where do you think I was going to get married at?
I don't know.
There's Circle K?
There's Circle K. That's Arizona's thing. Scottsdale Bros hang out there. That's our go-to when we're in where are we at? Tempe, or what do we stay at?
Hey, remember Phoenix?
Mesa. When we say Mesa.
Remember Phoenix had AAA for all those years, and I don't think they had a roof. Vegas, AAA, they don't have a roof.
I mean, the Rangers just got one.
The Rangers just got one. All those years in Texas playing in 100+. How will the Players Association ever let it happen? Didn't they play in Texas?
For a long time. In that stadium. With Globe Life Park. That's field now.
Dude, how hot is St. Louis in the middle of the summer?
Hot.
In July.
There's humidity.
Oh,
trust me, I grew up in it. I know what it's like.
Pittsburgh, you grow it's
So if it rained, I remember going to the All-Star game a few years ago. It was a 2018 All-Star game in D.C., the year the Trinan and Jed Lowry were the All-Stars. I remember talking to them, but I remember going up and talking to them after it rained in D.C. My wife and I were walking through. We go over to Nationals Park. The temperature rose by like 15 to 20 degrees because it rained and humidity just shot up. I'm sweating the whole time. It's awful.
I worked the hottest Denver Bronco game in the history of Mile High. This is the new Mile High, but both. Raiders, book it. Go look at it. It was 2018 or 19. It was the hottest game. It was like almost 100 degrees, but the temperature on the sideline, CBS showed it was 117. Did they go to the Players Union to see if it was okay to play the game? I think we played the NFL game.
I remember it being that warm. I remember watching it and it being all over the internet and social media and them talking about it on television.
Yeah, it was. My head got sunburned. And then the next week we were in Miami.
That's why you got to wear a hat.
If everybody remembers, didn't the Marlins play at Joe Robbie Stadium? Did that have a roof? Do you know how freaking hot it is in South Florida in the summertime? With humidity. Mm-hmm. That's 100+ with humidity. Do they play those games?
Yeah. They won a couple World Series playing there. If I remember correctly, Marlins won a couple World Series.
What do we got?
Torey.
The manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Torey Lovullo, friend of the program, right here on A's Cast Live. We talk about him all the time, a former athletic who now has done such an unbelievable job with the Arizona Diamondbacks down in the Valley of the Sun. He's been one of our favorites for a long time. Torey Lovullo joins us here. And we were thinking back, 2019 was the first time we had you on this show. And to think about where we were in San Diego, and you were talking about building, what it means in the clubhouse and to build a team. I still, on this swinging A's, I still have written here what you told us: love, trust, commitment, and effort. I wrote it on the back of this, and I've never forgotten that. I can't tell you how happy I am for you, because everything you said you were going to do, you've done in Arizona.
I appreciate that. You put yourself out there a little bit. And first of all, thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. I just know who I am at my core. I know what's important to me. And I just try to spread that out. And, you throw the word love inside of a clubhouse, and love, trust, commitment, and effort. It's kind of self-explanatory about what is real inside of the emotional being of who we are on a daily basis. We happen to be baseball players, but we got to link together. We got to bond. We got to stay together. We got to fight together. We got to celebrate together. We got to hurt together. And when you do that, it becomes very powerful. We've got a good team. They love one another. They care about one another, and they're in the same foxhole every single night.
And it was so great to watch the community, right? Because they'd been through it before. And we had talked to Bob Melvin because he was a bench coach when they won the World Series. But it's been a long time since then. And really a lot has grown up. The organization has grown up. Talk about bringing the entire community together with that World Series run.
Yeah, that to me probably meant more than anything. The support that the Arizona Diamondback fans showed us. We represent the entire state of Arizona. It belongs to us, and we just tried to make them proud of what we were doing on a daily basis. And it was happening so fast that I didn't really have a chance to process it. We were on the road in Milwaukee. We basically had one day here, went to LA, came back here for one day, went right back to Philly after the LA series. And from Philly, we went straight to the World Series. So I didn't process it until I was driving through my neighborhood the day off before Game 3 here in Arizona for the World Series. I didn't process it until I saw everything in my neighborhood was set up for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I saw everything on television that was set up for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I walked into my local grocery market, and there was Arizona Diamondback paraphernalia everywhere. That's what we meant to this community, and I'm so proud of that. And our fans are out there, and they loved and supported us, even though we lost 110 games 2 years prior to that. We knew they were there, and they came out in a big way.
Yeah, and I think about it's been very touching with Mike Hazen and the MLB Network doing that special. I think the run for all of you together, doing it together, sticking together makes it even better.
I agree. I'm not an idiot. I know that I was probably as close to being fired as any manager has ever been that has not been fired. And I deserve it. You lose 110 games. And that came on the heels of a 20 season that was interrupted by COVID, where we didn't do very well. And I was grateful. I was grateful that they still continued to believe in me. And yeah, we had a lot of hardships here. It wasn't easy. What Mike Hazen went through, we can't quite explain. I know I can't. But it was a really, really difficult time. We came out the other end, and we really celebrated. We celebrated in a big way last year, and we felt very deserving of that.
And now you're trying to get it back. And right now we just saw that you guys, it was game number 81 yesterday for you guys. You got a second half here. You're getting Thomas back, one of your big guns. Gallen's coming off the IL. If you can get Carroll going again, I mean, there's a long way to go for you guys here in the second half.
Totally agree. When you look at our season last year, I think we were hovering around 500 around the same time of the year. Caught a little tail. Well, I'm sorry. We had a really good finish to the first half, and then we hit a little slump coming out of the break. In that month of late August, early September, we were just around 500. So we feel like we're within striking distance. And the reason why I'm mostly encouraged by what we're capable of doing is we haven't even played close to our best baseball. We've had some consistent moments. We've had some consistent weeks, but we haven't won 8 out of 10 and gone off on a great run, and everything kind of supported one another, where the pitching matched the base running, which matched the hitting, which matched the defense. We got to find a way to get that more consistent, and when it does, it's going to really take off.
Yeah, I want to see you guys running a lot again. I was always bragging about you guys going, hey, new rules, even you guys even before the new rules became a track meet. I'm like, that's what we need back in our, like when you were playing. Rickey Henderson, Vince Coleman, we need guys running again.
It reminded me of that time, right? When we started off last year with the bigger bases, which in turn was a shorter base path. We took off, man, and the limited pickoffs, we took off. But this is why the big leagues is such a great place, because the teams I know figured out a way to counterpunch us, and we walked right into a sledgehammer in the first 3 weeks of the season. We weren't good enough to project what the teams were going to do and shut us down. So we're going to get back there. We need to get Corbin Carroll on base. We got a lot of athleticism that's in our lineup. We'll get him back out there. We'll get him running again.
Well, when I think about what you guys did last year with the 84 wins, then going all the way, it kind of lets everybody know the regular season is just get in. And there's a lot of hope. And what you guys did gives so many people, so many different towns, so many different cities hope, saying, hey, listen, we may not be in first place, just got to get that wild card.
Yeah, we are a great model for that mid-market team that that just plays good baseball and does it right. We talk about winning the inch, not that the ball is going to be fair or foul by an inch, but there's millions of inches all over the baseball field that mostly speaks about preparation. But when we go out there and take care of our business and do it right, we feel like we're going to win more games than we're going to lose. And that was certainly the case last year. And you just got to get into the big dance. You look at San Diego State a couple years ago, they got into the NCAA finals and they surprised everybody. So I feel like we were in that category, but inside of the walls of our own clubhouse, we knew what we were very capable of doing. And it showed up in a big way.
Let's end on this. Obviously, it's the last year of A's baseball at the Coliseum, you playing for the A's. Do you have like one memory that you could share with us about your time at the Coliseum?
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm so heartbroken about that. I only wish nothing but the best for the Oakland A's franchise, having passed through there and with some amazing people, some amazing owners, front office. It was such a great memory. But yeah, I do remember going up one time into what's the big structure called in center field? Is it something
Mount Davis?
It's called Al Davis. Okay, right.
Mount Davis.
They were pouring concrete, and on this one particular day, I went up there, grabbed one of my bats, and I asked one of the gentlemen that was pouring concrete if I could take my bat and put it in somewhere in the middle of that concrete in right field. And by all means, he allowed me to. So I have one of my own bats, a C271, double dip black finish that's somewhere about head high in right center field.
You will live forever in Mount Davis.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, well, I mean, it's been great having you on this program for so many years. We wish you nothing but the best. There's a whole half of baseball to go to track down the Dodgers or get into the postseason, make another run. You've made us big Arizona Diamondback fans, but it's so much about you and the leadership. Like what we talked about in 2019 is back in 2019, people weren't saying, oh my God, Torey Lovullo, you weren't the big shiny new toy back then. So everything that you've done that you've built there, it's something special. And thank you for allowing us to be part of the ride.
For sure, man. I appreciate you guys so much. And thank you so much for this time, Chris. It means a lot.
Torey Lovullo. 2019, when we first met him, you could have said he's kind of on the hot seat. Is he on the hot seat anymore?
I'm going to go with no.
I wrote it down here on this swinging A's. I mean, this is really to be hung up. It's got a little hanger. It's pretty cool. Where did we steal this from?
I don't know.
We grabbed it from somewhere. No one knows we took it. There's so many things at the Coliseum that people like. There's closets and so whenever we venture through stuff, we go, oh, look on the desk. This was one of them. I love it. Right? This is awesome. This thing's old. I have no idea when this was made. But when we had Torey on, I remember we were talking to him and I had nothing to write on. And I'm like, this is awesome what he's saying. He said there's 4 pillars: love, trust, commitment, and effort. And I wrote it on the back. If you could even see it, I wrote it on the, I don't know, will they be able to see that?
Probably not, no.
So I wrote it on the back here. Love, trust, commitment, and effort. It's amazing. Leadership. It's amazing what happens.
But how about his Coliseum story?
You have to believe. No, but you have to believe. You have to believe. It's got to be real. For you to get other people to buy in, it's the same thing with your bosses at work. It's the same thing with whoever you report to. If you know they don't believe, if you know they're not all in, how are you all in? When you go to Arizona, you have a man leading the charge who is all in, and he has been all in, and he's been rewarded for it. And it's why you should always really think about when you're firing a guy. Is this the right move? Did we do everything for him that we could have done to make him successful? That's why team like Al Davis, just switching head coaches, it's not smart. It really is about finding the right people to lead the ship. And during tough times, just always firing people, thinking that the unknown is better than the known, is not always smart business. Do you have the right leader, and do you just need to change things internally to get things right? Arizona made that decision. And they were rewarded with a guy leading them to the World Series. And think about when we talk about teams that move, because we deal with that a lot, or you talk about expansion teams, when Arizona won that title, they were still building. But what happens is, and we've seen this a lot with Tampa now, is when you move to a new city, it takes a few decades, right? It takes kids growing up, and then they have kids. You know, it's that whole, you need a couple generations to grow up, and that's all they know. So, you know, there's now kids who are growing up, all they know is Arizona Diamondback baseball. They don't know that the Dodgers games used to be, you know, Padres, Dodgers, whatever used to always be on in Arizona. And the same thing will happen in Vegas. And it's the same thing that's happening in Tampa. That was always Yankees territory, right? Well, now you have generations of kids. And our guy,
Brett
Phillips taught us this. He goes, you know, he grew up as the young kid going, hey, we have a team here. And now his generation is having kids, and they're growing up. They're all in on the Rays. The Rays fan base will be different in the next decade than it has been in past decades. It takes a while. I mention it all the time. Should I tell how much time do we have?
Like a little over 30 minutes. We still have Kotsay too.
Okay. I'll give you a story and why I think Arizona really got behind this World Series run. And it comes from Nashville. We were at the winter meetings in Nashville. We were going to the game on Sunday. It was the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Up against the Titans. And you and Dallaire wanted to have some cocktails before the game. And we were off Broadway at a little jazz place and getting ready, little pregame lube for the old game. And a kind of like van pulls up and has a bunch of Colts fans. And it made me think about it because obviously we were in Nashville. There's a lot of talk about what's happening with the A's. And I said this, I said, you know, years ago, the two teams we're going to see were the Baltimore Colts and the Houston Oilers. Do you remember me bringing this up?
Yeah.
And you and Dallaire getting your heat on were like, oh, that's it. And I said, nowhere in this broadcast today are they going to mention that either of these teams used to play in Baltimore or Houston because that was a long time ago. Time changes everything. People don't think about that. Everybody thinks about, well, what happens when things first happen? Colts fans don't even think about that the team was in Baltimore years ago. You think Titan fans really Houston? So that's what happens over time. You know, when you start like Sharks fans. I was here before the Sharks got here. Like people don't think about the early expense. No one thinks about that anymore. By the way, speaking of that, do you have the
we got it.
Okay. Sharks with the number 1 pick in the draft. Our San Jose Sharks select.
With the first overall selection in the 2024 NHL Draft, the San Jose Sharks are very proud to select from Boston University, Macklin Celebrini.
There was a very overzealous Sharks fan there, but Macklin Celebrini, the Hobie Baker Award winner in college hockey, which is like the Heisman, essentially. He just turned 18.
If I was a really good host, I would get on here. I would do my Larry Krueger impression. I'd act like I know everything, right? A really good host would lie to you, and because I could pull it up, and I could give you his whole thing. I could tell you, he's a good skater. Well, I like him in the room. which still I have no idea what that means.
I can't wait to watch him at the barn.
He looks his sweater on the barn. I could sit here and lie to you and be like, I'm the biggest Sharks fan. I mean, I do like the Sharks. I'm not a hockey guy. I don't claim to be a hockey guy. I could pull up this kid. I could act like I know nothing about this kid. I know nothing. I'm not gonna lie to the people. Our people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no clue who he is. I've never watched Boston College hockey.
No.
Where'd he go?
Boston University.
Boston University. Oh, that's even a better school.
Same school that Sharks GM Mike Greer went to.
He's not ACC, bro. By the way, CBS Sports thinks Cal's going to have a pretty first year in the ACC.
No, you've already what a traitor.
I'm a Cal honk now.
But no,
I'm a Cal investor now. But good for the Sharks.
Is
this guy any good?
He's supposed to be. First time in
supposed to be.
I mean,
I need Shohei Ohtani here.
He's not being compared to Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid, Wayne Gretzky, but he's going to be a good generational player for the Sharks. Came through, was a junior Shark, has Sharks ties. His dad works for the Warriors, so there's a lot of Bay Area ties there that everyone cares about.
I could care less. Can this kid play?
He can, yes. And he just turned 18. He played his first year in college at 17 years old.
What do you mean he's not going to be the next Gretzky? Is he Gordie Howe?
No.
Mark Messier?
We don't like to compare eras.
Yammer Yager?
If he can be Yager, I'll take that.
Yager played 8,000 years.
And for 8,000 teams. He's not going to be Mario.
He's an offensive player, though.
Yes.
Is he a center or a forward?
He's a center.
Yeah, because if they took a defenseman,
they took a defenseman with the 11th pick. They had 2 picks in the first round. Their defense was terrible last year. I watched a lot of bad Sharks hockey.
Ray Bork?
I don't know a lot about the kid they took with Sam Dickinson, I think his name is. Played up in the OHL.
So will this kid immediately be on the ice opening day?
That's the big question that everyone's trying to figure out because he can go back to college. But
back to college.
The number 1 overall pick, history shows, goes right to the NHL. There's only been a couple of guys who have gone back to college.
What do you mean he can go back to college?
The Sharks can own his rights, but he can go back and play another year of college if he feels he isn't ready.
That sounds something like baseball would do. That's dumb. You just got drafted number 1. You're going to go back to college?
The kid for a couple years ago for Buffalo, Owen Power, got drafted number 1 overall. He went back and played at Michigan. Then he came back. Like towards the end of the season, he was able to play. There's some rule with the AHL so the Barracuda, you can't be like, you have to be a certain age to play in the AHL.
Son, it starts. I'm gonna go Lou Piniella here. Son, it's time to start your career here.
Well, the reason why they think he'll do it because the kid,
Patty Marleau was 18 when he got here, right?
Yeah, yes. This is the first time the Sharks also have ever had the number 1 overall pick. The kid who took last year, Will Smith, played at Boston College, who was the runner-up for the Hobie Baker Award.
Will Smith?
Yeah.
Not the Will Smith.
No, different Will Smith.
Not the rapper turned actor slapping Chris Rock. Not the Dodger catcher.
Not the Dodger catcher. Not the reliever for the Royals who's won like 4 World Series in a row.
Not the James, not the Jim, but the Bobby Brown. If you remember back in the day.
So this kid decided he's going to come out and play this year. So everyone's thinking, okay, since Will Smith's going to play on the Sharks, maybe Celebrini decides he's going to come and play. I think he's going to be here, and people are going to be excited. I mean, they were expecting to have a lot of. They had like 17,000 tickets issued at SAP Center tonight, which smashed the record for most people to draft in last year.
I know.
It was 5,000 last year.
Our buddy Casey Pratt's he's going to be giving reports, isn't he?
Yeah, Casey's there. Yeah, a couple of our friends are there. So they've been
name one. Ruzanowski.
They're doing a live broadcast.
What?
They're doing live stuff there.
People are fired up.
And Sharks fans are excited. Something to look forward to next year, Don. Well, I mean, they're still going to be bad, but they're going to be better.
Well, you better hope the Sharks don't get good because then you're not going to get all your free seats.
That's true. Ruse is going to have to start giving away to somebody else.
And you're going to be sitting up you're going to be not lower tank. You're going to be upper tank.
Or I'll just have to watch from home.
Wow. Sharks hockey.
Good for them. Hopefully this turns everything around.
I remember taking my kids and I'd have to buy them. I had to buy the little Sharky and have to, oh my God.
Last year was the worst. I mean, they know they can't have another year like that. They were 1954 and
back in the day,
8, I think.
Back in the day, the bar in between periods of the Sharks game was rocking. Back in the day, I'm talking back when the arena was like first going, and we were young.
Back when it was HP Pavilion.
Was that what it was
Well,
originally?
I don't know what it was originally.
I don't even remember what, but I'm just saying back in the early days. We used to go to the games and never even go to the game. We'd stay in the bars. Those lower bars.
Yeah, that are still there now.
That's when tech money first really started coming around. It was incredible.
The bars.
You would go to the Sharks game. Literally, you'd watch maybe 5 minutes. Let's go to the bar, and then first half ends. Everybody goes in there, and then some people leave. But I mean, it was basically like club. It was like a club, and there's different bars down below.
Yeah.
But it was essentially like you were going to a club. People would be in there, and it was wow.
Yeah, and
the good old days of Sharks hockey.
The Barracuda, the Sharks minor league affiliate, the AHL, the American Hockey League, they have their new arena here in San Jose. They have a bar that's right there. You walk in and you're right behind the net. It's pretty.
Yeah, this is not what I'm talking about.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's pretty cool that for a minor league team they're doing.
I'm talking about it was like a party. Like a party, like a club, like a party.
I'm going to go I'm going to break a little news to you. It wasn't really like that this year at the old Shark Tank.
I'm just going to tell you and then when the Sharks got good,
a lot of games.
The bars at the Shark Tank were incredible. They were incredible.
When LA comes or the Golden Knights, it's pretty crowded. But
when we did Warriors post game from the Crown Royal room and the Warriors got good, incredible. The indoor sports, when it gets going, the party gets going.
Sharks are on the up and up. The Warriors are not so much.
What? It's not Draymond's fault. It is not Draymond's fault.
They're going to get Paul George.
We ready? We got to do Kotsay.
Yeah.
It's time now. It's Friday. It's time for the Mark Kotsay Show right here on A's Cast Live. Now for the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by NestBetting.com. Check out their one location they have in the Bay Area, or you go online for all your betting needs, your mattress, your pillows, your sheets, nestbetting.com. Love where you sleep. Kotsay down in the Valley of the Sun. How was the day off? Was it a little hot?
It was extremely hot, but fortunate that my son actually is out here playing in a baseball tournament. So I got to see more baseball yesterday. I got to see him play, which I don't normally get to do. Yeah. I saw one high school game on a day off that just got lucky enough that we had a day off and got to San Diego to see it. So got another game this morning in. I had a great game, got 3 hits, and so it's been enjoyable. But obviously back in the office and back to work.
You think about the family time, and I cherished my off day yesterday. Just what does it mean to you to be able to spend that with your son, to have that off day? Because we don't think about that in the big leagues. We're just worried about wins and losses, grind. But these off days can be very special. I'm sure you probably tell your coaching staff, hey, you got to take the day off to rejuvenate.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of coaches that live here locally in Arizona, Marcus Jensen being one. Got to see his boys play yesterday as well. Josh Cuffey, our strength coach, is here. He also got to pick up a new puppy this morning. So, yeah, there are lives, that exist outside of the job. And it's always nice that when you get an off day, you get to spend it with family and friends and really kind of just detach from the grind of 162 games and in a very in 180 plus days.
Take us through your relationship with Bruce Bochy. Obviously you played for him in San Diego, but there is a special bond there between you two. How did it really start? And just over the years, how did you stay so close?
Yeah, I obviously playing for Bruce, there was impact there as a player and the way he was a leader. Stayed connected, just obviously as a visiting player, always saying hello, always having conversation. But him living locally in San Diego also brought us together in the winter with a group of guys that live in San Diego from the network of MLB and friendships and relationships. We just stayed in touch, and the later years of my career got closer to him in terms of my future. Once the game was done, and he, was a big advocate for me to get back engaged, to be on a staff, to, go forward with, the next part of my chapter in baseball as a coach and and as a possible future manager. He was always there backing me. He supported me through all of the interview processes. And, you know, our families have been close. His boys grew up as Padres, you know, when I was there in 01 through 03. And it's been great. You know, it's been great to have that type of friend and that type of supporter in my corner.
Now, obviously, the All-Star break, as we were just talking about family time, getting away, it's where a lot of us like to get away from baseball. Now he asked you to be on the staff, not only on the staff, this is after he just won a World Series. It's going to be in Arlington at the home of the Rangers. This is a very special All-Star game for him and his career. Who knows how many times this will happen for him again. What did it mean for you to be asked to be on that staff?
Yeah, no, I'm truly an honor. And, you know, whatever I can do to help support him in that day, like you said, it's going to be epic. You know, it's one that for me, it'll be my first experience at an All-Star game. And, you know, it's funny the way he asked me. He said, well, you better check with Jamie because I know how special the All-Star breaks are. And the first thing Kim told me after we won the World Series, and Kim being, you know, Boch's wife, was, well, you really screwed up our All-Star break.
Yeah.
But he's going to have his whole family. We talked already. He's got grandkids coming. I mean, what an awesome experience for the grandkids and for him, you know, if this is his final contract and final tenure as a manager, to go out with an All-Star game, like you said, in Arlington after winning World Series, pretty special moment.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching you from Hawaii. I can't wait.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, Hawaii would be nice. We do get back to San Diego. I will get two pretty good off days, and we're going to leave early Wednesday morning after the game and get back to San Diego pretty early and get some beach time. You know, that's always nice.
It's an incredible honor, right? And you can't say this enough about this kind of, you know, historic. He's a legendary manager. You know, hopefully someday he'll be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and kind of it'll be like the last big salute. I mean, who knows what will happen with the Rangers coming up here, but the last big salute to him and his legendary career, and the fact that he wants you to be a part of it. That's really, really special. Also special, I love these stories, and they happen for every single team. I know we all get so fixed on our team, but it happens all over baseball. But an Armando Alvarez story where a guy's played in 700 minor league games. You don't know what that's like, Mark Kotsay, because that wasn't your career. No. That's a lot of bus rides. That's a lot of I'm not going to say bad towns, but it's a lot of, you know, it's not the Four Seasons and the Ritz-Carltons, the hotels and everything. What does that mean for you to understand this kid, what he's been through, and at 29 years old, to finally give him that opportunity, and he comes through for you?
Yeah, no, it's been great to see the pure joy. You know, when he walked into our clubhouse, it wasn't, I don't want to say he was stunned by it, but he was really taken back by us, you know, giving him this opportunity, because I think he's had a lot of success for like 3+ seasons in AAA. Last year was a really great season for him in the Giants organization, and he wasn't promoted. And I think at that point, when you go through that type of season, you go to another organization, you probably have a mindset that it's just not going to happen. I'm going to play baseball. I'm not ever going to get called up to the big leagues, no matter what kind of success I have. And so when I said, hey, Mondo, remember our conversation when, you know, you walked out of my office and wanted to know what more you could have done to make this team. And I said, there was nothing more you needed to do, but you have to go play AAA and continue to just prove to us that you belong here, and the opportunity will come. And he was very grateful in you know, saying thank you. And, you know, obviously the games that he, you know, went out and performed in Anaheim, you know, will lead him to more opportunity, as we talk about.
Yeah, I'm glad you said the word grateful, because his first answer to the media after the game that he had, his first time starting, and he had those hits, he used the word grateful twice. I won't forget that. And I did a whole special thing about him on the pregame show on Sunday to highlight it, and really, really cool. And is it possible? Because we talk so much, a guy like that doesn't get a shot because he's not a top pick. This is not the organization that drafted him. Scouts don't have his name on him. Front office people don't have it. can a guy come up at 29 and be successful and play on a regular basis for a team like that?
Yeah, we're going to find out for sure. And, those are the opportunities that exist in this organization right now with where we're at and what we're going through. I can bring up name after name. Probably Christian Lopes is another name. Remember, he played 12 years in the minor leagues before we gave him an opportunity to call himself a big leaguer. And, those type of guys are getting that chance right now to come up. We can look at our all-star last year, Brent Rooker, right? Few different organizations, bounced back and forth, was up and down, a little different than Armando because he'd never been to the big leagues and never, been designated or, on a roster for 10 days and kicked off the roster. So, but that's what these guys are coming here. That's why they're signing here. And, they are being put in the fire and seeing what they can do.
You've had conversations with the team about making more contact. I like that. I mean, it's easier said than done. But just talk about those conversations, because there's a lot about, hey, man, you got to take pride in not striking out and making some contact. Just talk about what you've said to the team. I know the hitting coaches are saying a lot of things. What did you say to the team?
Yeah, I mean, our goal was to cut down our strikeouts this year, and our goal was to see more pitches once you get to 2 strikes. It wasn't put it in play. It was just see as many pitches as you possibly can. Once you get 2 strikes, and that's that battle mentality that's, that you have to have. You can't fire your A swing when you have 2 strikes and expect to put it in play. So we continue to harp on that. Guys are trying to make those adjustments. You look at, certain guys that are slugging, like a Shea Langeliers, and his strikeout rate is pretty consistent with what it's been, and maybe up a little from the minor leagues, but consistent with where it was last year. Same with Brent Rooker. These guys still are doing damage. I mean, their slug is still there. It's the opportunity to get guys on base in front of them, and I think our walks are decent. Like our on base percentage isn't as low as, let's say, our batting average, in comparison to the league, but we're still working on and building towards, really being that team that can do something with 2 strikes and put the ball in play.
What was your philosophy, thinking back to your long career, when you got 2 strikes on you, whether it was a righty or lefty? What was your thought process?
Well, my thought process was I wasn't going to get beat away, and that if you were able to dart a fastball inside, I would tip my cap, because majority of the strikeouts don't happen on fastballs inside. They happen on off-speed pitches where you're chasing. They happen above the zone. And those are it's a mindset that you have to have. And if you have an ego about getting beat with a fastball, you're probably going to have a high strikeout percentage. So you got to give something to get something. And in those at-bats, that approach for me when I had 2 strikes was that I wasn't necessarily looking to drive the ball out of the ballpark. I was looking to give myself an opportunity to stay on a changeup or not swing, recognize a breaking ball, and stay away from swinging at it.
All right, let's end on this. The Arizona Diamondbacks, you're in the Valley of the Sun for 3 days. As you said, a lot of coaches, players, everybody lives down there, so it's nice to get down there. Obviously, where we have our offices in Mesa and Hohokam, and we love being down there in Arizona. Diamondbacks, a year, they won the National League last year, played against Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers in the World Series. They haven't had a repeat year that they like, but they're getting Thomas back. They're getting Gallen back. They're getting a couple guys back in this series. What do you see in the Arizona Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I see a club like you talk about that's, had some injuries, that maybe hasn't performed to the level of expectation coming off last season. But you look at last season and they really overperformed. They got in. They didn't play great towards the end. They got in, and that's really all that needed to happen, because they did get hot. And they ran through that Dodger team pretty quickly with great pitching and great defense, timely hitting. We talk about, just when things align, it's great. And this year they've had some struggles. The Twins just came in here and took 2 out of 3 from them. So, it's like you said, it's a time where they're looking to get some players back, and for them, head in a different direction than they have been so far.
Great stuff, Kots. Enjoy the weekend in Arizona. We'll see you back here in the Bay Area.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by Nest Betting. Check out their location in the Bay Area, or you go to nestbetting.com. Love where you sleep. The Mark Kotsay Show.
Every Friday right here on AceCast.
Got to get something going on the road because the road numbers are just, wow, road numbers are bad.
We don't have to bring it up, but, I mean, it's 11, right? I know I just brought it up, but it's 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've lost 11 in a row on the road. They've lost 15 of 8. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 24 games under 500. But 11 and 10 in interleague play.
So we like playing the National League.
Love playing the National League. And Torey Lovullo, like Arizona, San Francisco, San Diego, they can all talk. But they better start making some hay. Somebody has to separate in this National League because it's absolutely crazy. The Braves are a wild card team. Your 3 teams in the playoffs right now are the Braves, Padres, Cardinals. But here comes the Mets. Your Pirates are there, Dbacks, Giants, Nationals. I mean, everybody, it basically goes like this. 3 teams are Braves, Padres, Cardinals. Then goes Mets, Pirates, Diamondbacks, Giants, Nationals, Reds, Cubs. The furthest team back out of all that is the Cubs at 4, which means half the season left to go. Everybody's in play. Oh, we got to pay it off. Said earlier, is there a record that Shohei Ohtani could have at the leadoff spot that Rickey Henderson doesn't?
Well, tonight there could be.
Move over. Yeah, Rickey didn't even have the record, which is shocking, right? You think Rickey has every single leadoff record? No. The great Wally Moses.
I'll look up his old stats.
Who is Walter? Probably Walter. Ooh, Walter Moses.
Oh, well, he was 80 when he passed in 1990.
He had a decent little career at 36.6 WAR.
291 career hitter, 109 OPS plus.
291 career hitter. This guy would be our best player.
But he had 12 triples in 1943.
He was a Philadelphia Athletic.
In 1945 at age 34, he was an all-star. He had 35 doubles for the White Sox.
Oh, Wally Moses, former Wally Moses, but with the White Sox in 1945, he is the only player to record an RBI in 10 straight games out of the leadoff spot since the RBI became an official stat. Well, Shohei Ohtani has been batting leadoff ever since Mookie Betts fractured his hand. Shohei Ohtani has an RBI in 9 straight games. He's going to get an RBI tonight. I mean, he's playing the Giants. Logan Webb, you remember you were
– So my fantasy team, be careful.
You were touting him as Greg Maddux. He's the next great ace. Have you ever seen Logan Webb's numbers against the Dodgers?
No, they're not great.
3-4 with a 4.78 in his last 7 starts against the Dodgers. What's his expected ERA?
3.24.
All I know is his ERA is 4.78. It's terrible. Shohei Ohtani set the Dodgers franchise record for an RBI in 10 consecutive games. So he's done that. One of those games, obviously, the first of 10 wasn't the leadoff spot. He has homered in 7 of 10 games. And in the 10 games, he's hitting .444 with a 6. I got to add this up. It is unbelievable with this. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I'm still trying to figure out why you would ever have him pitch again. Why would you ever mess with this again? Shohei Ohtani in the last 10 games is hitting .444 with a 1,757 OPS, 8 home runs, 17 RBIs, and 14 runs scored. And 9 of that's from the leadoff spot.
That's pretty impressive.
The 17 RBIs, 8 homers. It's from the leadoff spot. I mean, Rickey Henderson was good, but Rickey never did this.
No. Only Walter Moses did.
This is incredible.
Well, it is an ace stat. He was an A. He has ace ties.
When he did it, he was a White Sox, but he did play for Connie Mack and the Philadelphia Athletics. I mean, this is crazy. What Ohtani's doing is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. All right, how much time we got?
We got to go.
All right, you're just looking at your watch.
Yeah.
What a show today. Torey Lovullo, Mark Kotsay, and our buddy Mike Ferrin, national host for Sirius XM MLB Network Radio Channel 89. Also, he's the voice of the WBC, does a ton of college baseball. Mike Ferrin is the man. Great host. His show, Power Alley with Jim Duquette. You want a sports talk style talk show on a daily basis. Second to none Monday through Friday, the Power Alley on Sirius XM. Pretty good show. Way to wrap up the week. Now can the A's help out?
Let's hope. Take 2 or 3 in the desert. Get up.
Yeah. And come out of there smoking hot.
Come back. Hey, guess what? Who do we play next week? The Angels.
We just got swept by the Angels.
Then we play the Orioles. Then I guess we play the following week.
We can't beat Mickey Moniak, for God's sakes.
Wait, hold on. That's right here.
Who do we got?
Next week, the following week, we play on the road at Boston. And
the next homestand is who?
The Angels and Orioles.
And the Orioles?
Yeah. Then we're on the road, Boston and Philly. And then guess who we play when we come back from the All-Star break? The Angels. And then we're done with them.
Wait, what? That was that 13 games that fast?
Well, we played 3.
Okay.
Then we play 3 next week. That's 6.
6.
Then we play another series when we come back. That's another 3. So that's 9. And I think the last one's a 4-game series. Right?
Can we make some hay against the Angels? First off,
4-game series. Yeah.
We got to take down the Snakes. All right, coming up next, we send you to the Valley of the Sun. It's the Athletics. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks next, right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intended and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
August 5th is International Trading Card Day, and Topps would like to celebrate with you. Visit your participating local hobby shop to receive a pack of cards, plus receive a special card if you purchase $10 or more of Topps products while supplies last. You can also celebrate International Trading Card Day with Topps on August 5th at the Oakland Coliseum and receive an exclusive A's card pack. Follow @Topps on social media and visit Topps.com for more information.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit Xfinity.com/.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.